Hi everyone, my name's Cameron Gray and I'm the past president of the SouthYeasters Homebrewers Club and an avid home brewer. Today what I want to do is just to show you how simple it is to brew beer at home with things that you largely have around the house. Given to some of the things happening today with COVID and people trying to make alcohol at home, I just want to clear the air on a few things. Homebrewing beer is a safe process to perform at home. The beer brewing process is specifically about creating beer from malt-derived sugars. I'm also going to include in there some of the traditional brewing methods and other non-malt based grains, such as sorghum that's used in making umkomboti. These are safe to do at home. What I do need to differentiate between though is the other forms of alcohol people try to produce at home. So ciders, meads, wines, and other things such as pineapple beer, and these basic fermentations are also safe, but they have different set of guidelines and processes you need to follow to make sure that what you produce is good. Here I'm covering brewing of beer specifically. The fermentation of those other products is not brewing, so we do need to make a differentiation. I would also like to warn people to stay away from some of the more dangerous processes, such as distilling and trying to concoct other sort of alcoholic beverages by mixing in other ingredients from around the home. Those are very unsafe and potentially lethal, so please don't try and make those sort of alcohols at home. But just to repeat, brewing beer at home is an absolutely safe process to follow. It's been done for thousands of years and at times was considered even safer than drinking the water that was available in public areas. So let's get back onto that. Today we're going to be brewing a very simple pale ale, and as I said, I'm going to try not to use any special equipment. You should get out of this a very tasty, good, easy to drink beer, but it doesn't have all of the bells and whistles that you could have when brewing. If you do enjoy doing this, then I suggest you get in contact with your local homebrew club and see what sort of steps you should take to move into brewing on a more frequent basis, and some of the special equipment that isn't that expensive that you might like to get hold of. So what do we need today? Firstly, let's start with the ingredients. So there are only 4 ingredients in basic beer. That's water, malt, hops, and yeast. So today I'm going to be using a combination of a 5-litre bottle of Aquelle spring water. You can use Cape Town tap water. It's absolutely perfect for brewing, but I actually just want this bottle for later in the process, so you can use it as a fermentation vessel instead of having to go and get a separate bucket or something to do that in. I'll also be using some tap water because I need more water than what's in this bottle to make the beer. The second thing is the crushed barley. So this is a bag of crushed barley. You'll need to buy this from a local homebrew shop. There are 3 of them in Cape Town. There is Bev Plus out in Airport Industria. There's Beer Guevara in Woodstock's or Salt River area, and there's Beer Lab in Pinelands. There are also a number of national homebrew stores that will happily deliver for you. This is 1 kilo of crushed barley, and there's a mixture of 3 different types of barley in there. The next ingredient is hops. So I have 15 grams of Citra hops. Citra is a standard American hop that's used quite a lot in the industry for making pale ales, IPAs, things like that. It has a very citrus aroma to it and gives lots of orange and fruity flavors to your beer. I have that 15 grams broken into 3 5-gram things. The final thing you need is the yeast. This is brewer's yeast. There are literally thousands of different types of brewer's yeast out there. It is different to baker's yeast. What they all have in common is they all convert sugars to alcohol, and that's what we want. But the differences come in all the different byproducts and other flavors and aromas that they'll add to the finished beer. For this beer today, because it's a pale ale, I recommend that you use a plain, standard, clean American ale yeast, so something like US-05. Your local homebrew store will be able to recommend an appropriate one, or alternatively, one of the more recently available commercial strains, the Kveik strains, which come from Norway. Those are very tolerant to high temperature, and if you don't have the ability to control the temperature during the brewing of the beer, those might be a good choice, though you will get some slightly fruity notes in your finished beer that you won't get with a US-05 type ale yeast. Then for equipment, I have a large pot. So this is a 10-litre pasta pot that I have. I have a blanket, just a normal blanket that you would use on the bed, on the couch, whatever. I have a grain bag. So you're not likely to have one of these, but what you could use is an old pillowcase or a piece of muslin cloth or something like that. You basically need to have a bag big enough to fit the malted grains in. I have a big spoon. I have a funnel, and then the one piece of, I wouldn't call it specialist equipment, but the one piece of equipment that will really add value to your process is the thermometer. So I have a digital thermometer that I use on the braai and when doing baking and things. That will work perfectly. Whatever it is, it needs to be able to measure temperature between 50 and 80 degrees C. I will try and show you another way of doing this without a thermometer, but you'll get a much better chance if you have that. Then I think the final bit in the preparation stage is to talk about sanitation. So the most important thing when you're brewing beer is to keep everything sanitary. We're going to create an environment that is ideal for organic matter to grow. We're going to create a highly sugared environment, a highly oxygenated environment, a warm environment. Those are all the things that are going to help things grow. And we're doing that because we want our yeast to grow as quickly as possible and do a great job of converting that beer. But anything else that gets in there will do the same. So you need to have and make sure that everything that you use is well cleaned and that the soap is rinsed off of it. Anything that we're going to use after the boil stage, which is step 2 that we're going to go through today, then needs to be sanitized. Personally, I use something called a Citra, which is a special no-rinse sanitizer designed for brewing. You can all get that from the local homebrew shops. You can also get iodophor, which is an iodine-based no-rinse sanitizer. It's a lot cheaper. Some people don't like it because it does stain things. So if you get it on materials, some plastics, it'll stain that yellowy brown iodine color. Or what you can use, this is the least recommended option, is you can use unscented household bleach. What you'll need to do is you'll need to dilute that 4 milliliters of unscented household bleach diluted in 1 liter of water. Whichever of these options you go for, make sure you follow the instructions. No two brands of these things are exactly the same. So you may find one iodophor says mix 20 mils in 10 litres and another says 40 in 10. That depends on the concentration of the chemicals there. So please do follow the instructions on the packaging regarding dilution, application and contact time, because you need to do that to make sure that your stuff is sanitized properly. Okay, go out, get all of those things. The links for the homebrew stores and things will be in the bottom of the comments for this video, and then come back and join me when you're ready to start with step 1, the mashing. Thanks. Sorry, back again quickly. I think I forgot to mention that you need a funnel and a big spoon as well. So get those together before you start. See you soon.